You having a problem with your gun? Let me help you out with that. Oh, coming through!
Too much work.
This is bad. I'm gonna be...
Seeing Garfield back in the suit after 7 years in Spider-Man No Way Home was amazing. That movie is the best of the bunch because it brought out the best of all three Spider-Men and their awesome chemistry. I loved it and want to see more of that in the MCU. But what I love even more is for Garfield to have his own solo film first. Sure, the Amazing Spider-Man movies have their flaws, but I still hold them dear. Garfield is my favorite Spider-Man. He nails the sarcastic banter better than anyone, with Holland coming in second. Plus, the romance between him and Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy is my all-time favorite in superhero films. I was really bummed when The Amazing Spider-Man 3 got cancelled, but I truly believe it could be Garfield's ultimate Spider-Man movie if it gets the chance to happen again, especially after a Morbius's Vulture scene that secretly teases Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man return. We'll talk about that, but first let me tell you why I really want to see Andrew Garfield finish his Spider-Man trilogy. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 had its problems, mainly because Sony packed it with hints for future films that never happened. But after seeing Garfield in Spider-Man No Way Home, it's clear he's still got it as Spider-Man and now feels like the perfect time for The Amazing Spider-Man 3 to finally happen. One of the big reasons I want this is so Garfield can complete his trilogy and be on the same level as the other Spider-Man actors. Originally, The Amazing Spider-Man 3 and 4 were scheduled for June 10, 2016 and May 4, 2018 before they got cancelled. Right now, Garfield is the only live-action Spider-Man without a trilogy. Tobey Maguire had his from 2002 to 2007, and after The Amazing Spider-Man 3 was cancelled, Tom Holland stepped in with his 3 movies, and now Spider-Man 4 is in the works, giving Holland the most solo films. I don't want to see Garfield left out, and The Amazing Spider-Man 3 would fix that. Story-wise, the biggest reason I want The Amazing Spider-Man 3 to finally happen is to bring Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker back on screen with Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy. Their romance in the first 2 movies was easily the best part of the franchise. Their chemistry was just perfect. Sadly, Gwen's death in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was heartbreaking, but the movie did a great job adapting her iconic comic book death, making it one of the most emotional and tragic moments in superhero films. Garfield's Peter carried the guilt of her death for years. In Spider-Man No Way Home, Garfield's Peter tells Holland's Peter that Gwen was his MJ, and he couldn't save her. That failure made him bitter, and he stopped pulling his punches as a result. But then came my favorite scene from the movie, when Zendaya's MJ was falling from the Statue of Liberty and Holland's Spider-Man couldn't reach her. Garfield's Peter jumped in and saved her. It was such a powerful callback to Gwen's death, and seeing Peter break down after finally succeeding made the moment so emotional. After his return in a Multiverse event, I really want to see Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man 3 build on that and bring back Stone's Gwen Stacy. That cathartic moment where he saves MJ was amazing, but now I'd love to see the next step for Garfield's Peter Parker. Since the previous movies were all about Peter and Gwen's romance, it would feel a bit off for him to jump into a new relationship in the 3rd film. Continuing the multiverse theme could be the perfect solution. Even though Gwen died, having a multiverse version of Spider-Woman Gwen fall in love with Peter would add a beautiful twist to the story. It could lead to a touching film that explores their connection in a fresh way while honoring what they had before. Emma Stone hasn't made her return as Gwen Stacy yet, even though Andrew Garfield is back as Spider-Man in the MCU. She has commented on the possibility, and it would be exciting to see her back on screen. While there were rumors that Marvel Studios considered bringing Gwen Stacy back for Spider-Man No Way Home amid the film's multiverse chaos, they ultimately decided against it because the cast was already quite large. Emma Stone found out about this when comicbook.com shared the news with her on the red carpet for her recent movie Poor Things in December 2023. She was genuinely surprised and excited by the fans' interest in her returning as the beloved variant Spider-Gwen. She said, "No, I have never heard that before. This is awesome. This is a big moment for me. Thank you for telling me. Everyone wants that to happen? Everyone in the world?" Given her enthusiastic reaction, it's definitely encouraging that she might be open to coming back to the Spider-Man franchise, likely as Spider-Gwen, since her original character met a tragic end in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Originally, Shailene Woodley was cast as Mary Jane Watson in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but all her scenes were cut to keep the focus on Stone's Gwen and her relationship with Peter Parker. If The Amazing Spider-Man 3 had happened, Woodley would have finally stepped into the role of MJ. Interestingly, there were plans to adapt the character from the Ultimate Marvel comics and have Gwen return as a version of Carnage. While that concept is intriguing, it might not have worked well. I think the story would have been better if they went the multiverse route to bring Gwen back instead. That said, the original version of The Amazing Spider-Man 3 had some exciting villain plans, including the Sinister Six, which would have made their debut in a team movie. Chris Cooper's Norman Osborn was set to be resurrected as Green Goblin to lead that group, which would have added a lot of depth to the story. Now shift the attention to how Vulture's Morbius suit connects to The Amazing Spider-Man. There's actually a solid explanation for how Vulture got his new suit in Morbius, and it ties directly back to Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man universe. One of the last sequences in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 hinted at a range of upcoming villains that never came to be, since the franchise was cancelled in favor of rebooting with the MCU shortly after. These teases included iconic elements like Dr. Octopus's arms, a new suit for Rhino, and even a flight suit designed for Vulture. It seems like this tease may have finally materialized in Morbius's post-credit scene. Vulture's suit does look quite similar to what we saw in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which could help explain one of Morbius's biggest plot holes. While we can't definitively say these suits are identical, the design suggests that Vulture might have stolen his new gear from Oscorp, which was featured in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. If this is indeed the Vulture suit from The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it implies that the true setting of Morbius and other films in the Venomverse is actually Earth 120,703, which is the multiversal designation for Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man movies. Morbius's post-credit scene seems to suggest that Andrew Garfield might be making a return as Spider-Man. After the abrupt cancellation of The Amazing Spider-Man 3, it looked like Garfield's future as the character was done. However, if Vulture's suit is indeed the one created by Oscorp in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it strongly hints that the Venomverse is gearing up for Garfield's Spider-Man to make an appearance. It would be amazing to see him back, especially after his memorable comeback in Spider-Man No Way Home. As the Sinister Six continues to take shape with upcoming films like Kraven the Hunter and Venom 3, they'll need a hero to face off against. While the complete lineup of the Sinister Six in the Venomverse hasn't been revealed yet, the big question is which version of Spider-Man they'll encounter when they finally unite. Based on the hints from Morbius, it looks like that Spider-Man will be Andrew Garfield, giving him a chance to fully realize his potential as the web slinger after being sidelined for so long. Thanks for tuning in. It's clear that the potential for Andrew Garfield to return as Spider-Man has everyone buzzing with excitement. Do you think The Amazing Spider-Man 3 should happen? And how would you feel about seeing Emma Stone return as Gwen Stacy or Spider-Gwen? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for all the latest updates and insights on your favorite superhero films. Catch you in the next video.